Find other great podcasts like this one at Podmoth.Network.
Hello, twisted humans.
Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting?
Then this is the podcast for you.
In 1952, there was a record high of UFOs reported. 1,500 sightings.
There has been evidence of human sacrifice, devil worship, and it is haunted by more spirits than can be counted.
A family of 2 adults and 2 kids reportedly saw a giant flying thing with glowing red eyes.
And meanwhile, the family's nanny that helped Veronica to care for her and Lucian's children was found bludgeoned to death in the basement of their family home. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked.
Welcome to the Getting Down and Wordy podcast ad.
What do we do on this podcast?
Well, it's the first Edda musical podcast.
Can you try that again in real words so that people can understand?
Fine. We talk about the intersection of popular music and language.
Oh, can we also talk about Eurovision?
Okay.
Find us on Apple and Spotify.
We are a Podmoth Network podcast.
Welcome to the Brutal, Bizarre, and Boozy podcast. I'm Deklan, the son.
And I'm Jane, the mom. This is the podcast where we talk about brutal crimes, bizarre occurrences, and get you drunk with cocktails themed around one of our stories. To lighten things up, we'd like to end our time with a chaser. Please keep in mind some of our stories might be upsetting to young or sensitive ears.
We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to contact us by email or social media. You can find our contact info in the show notes for this episode. If you'd like to support us through Patreon, you can find us there at Brutal, Bizarre, and Boozy Podcast, or use the link in our show notes.
Thanks for joining us once again, everybody. How you guys doing? How you doing, Mom?
I'm doing good, Declan. Thanks for joining us, friends.
Yeah, what story do you have for us today?
I have an interesting story about mental health, but not.
Mental unhealth?
Well, it's about a man who was diagnosed with something after he told a story. So we'll get into it. I'm going to be a little cryptic about
story,
it.
Then. Must be a good story.
You know, it's mental health in the brain. You might be a little creeped out at a point or two, but I don't go into any gory details. So I know how you just love when I talk about brain stuff.
Brain stuff.
I know.
My brain scares me so much.
I know. What are you going to be telling us about?
Brain. I'm going to be talking about General Butt Naked. And to go with it, I have the Butt Naked cocktail.
Was it named after him?
I don't think so. I think this is just one of those AI cocktail things. Some websites you click on, it's like an AI fucking made this shit. I guarantee it.
True.
So to make this cocktail, it's 1 ounce of amaretto, 1 ounce Southern Comfort, top with cranberry juice, and 1 maraschino and 1 lime wedge, all in a highball glass. So,
oh, is it a highball? I did not realize it was a highball, and I put it in a low. And I'm a little scared.
It's probably the same amount of cranberry juice that's in it. In a highball, like I have the skinny highball glasses. Like,
true.
I feel like it's probably pretty.
We're gonna find out.
It's okay.
Okay.
I wouldn't order it. It's okay.
I legit told you I was gonna hate this.
Yeah, when I sent it to you, you were not a fan of it.
I was like, no, that's going to be disgusting.
Be that bad, though. Amaretto's
it's good.
Southern Comfort's pretty good, mixed with the right things. Like,
it tastes like a maraschino cherry.
It's not bad. I mean, I wouldn't order it again.
Liquid maraschino cherry.
I'm not huge on sweeter drinks, but it's not bad at all.
It is sweet, but I don't hate it.
It goes perfect with this story. you can't not
True.
pick that drink on General Butt Naked.
Exactly. Just
So
the
let's
name.
get into it. Just to preface this whole story, this is, I think, the most interesting person I've ever read about in my entire life.
Really? Oh,
This person, it's not a good story. I'm just going to preface this. If you're lighthearted or weak stomached, I don't think you should listen to this. Just skip right on ahead to Mom's story.
Oh,
But
that's not
it's
good. That's not good at all.
So, Joshua Milton Blahyi was born on September 30th, 1971 in Monrovia, Liberia. So, just kind of like some backstory behind Liberia's history. Under the Emancipation... oh my gosh, this is... The Emancipation
Proclamation?
God damn it,
Proclamation.
I can't say it.
What
The
is
Emancipation
happening to
Proclamation. I did it once. Okay, I got it. So under that, a lot of the freed slaves were offered a relocation to Liberia. That was kind of how Liberia was founded. Kind of like how Israel after World War II, a lot of the Jewish people from Europe and America moved to Israel. Same thing with Liberia, basically.
Okay.
So the people that moved from America were called Afro-Liberians, and they founded Liberia in 1874 and ruled Liberia for about a century. In 1980, Samuel Doe accumulated a militia and started a revolution against the Afro-Liberian government due to poor treatment of the native population of Liberia, believing they were better than the native population because they had once lived in America.
Oh.
Yeah. One of the
no
militia
one's better
members...
than anyone else.
Yeah. So one of the militia members ended up killing the president of Liberia, William Tolbert, in 1980, as well as executing 13 high-ranking government officials. Samuel Doe quickly took over the government after the coup and created his own ethno-political party called the Kron, which refers to the ethnic people native to Liberia. So there's a bunch of race wars going on between different tribes and like ethnic groups, technically, like because there's the people that came over from America and then there's the native people living in the land. So that there was a huge Liberian Civil War just based on that stuff.
Okay.
So Charles Taylor, who was a revolutionist, and 100 of his men decided they had enough of Doe's corruption and decided to attack Liberia on Christmas Eve, 1989. Charles' group went around different Liberian towns committing war crimes such as killing civilians and public executions of political figures. They had no idea. I don't know if no idea is the right word, but they didn't care about the Geneva Convention in the Liberian Civil War. There was a lot of atrocities that were committed, but
yeah.
Doe's army fought back just as brutally, also committing the same war crimes. So basically the president's army, I don't know if president's the right word, it's more like dictator's army is attacking, doing just as much fucked up shit as the revolutionists. So,
of course.
This is where Joshua Blahyi comes in, also known as General Butt Naked. He was born to the Kron group, so he was loyal to the government, the president, whoever the fuck.
Okay.
At 7 years old, his father gave up Joshua to the tribal elders who saw Joshua as someone who was blessed by the gods. From age 7 to 11, he was subjected to the rituals that the high elders thought a chosen child should be taught. These rituals included human sacrifice of a boy around his age, cannibalism, sexual assault, and eventually led him to taking child soldiers. After his first human sacrifice, he reportedly saw the spirits that the elders had told him about and started to direct the tribe towards supposed traitors and bad actors who would be they'd be sacrificed.
No.
Yeah.
He's a
They were
child?
sacrificed 7 to 11 years old. He's saying these people need to be sacrificed, and then him and the rest of the tribe were consuming them, believing their soul would grant them supernatural powers in war.
Okay,
but so
no.
One thing I thought of when writing this story is obviously this is horrific for us to listen to and read about, but this is just their culture. Like if you grow up,
That's their culture.
If you grow up around this stuff, like yes, it's horrific for us to see and talk about, but like if you don't think it's wrong because your culture, like
other societal, okay. I still think it's wrong to have children
but if it's
participating in human sacrifice. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to go out on a limb.
Because we hear about all these awful fucked up things that happen like in different cultures, and it's like, well, maybe that's just what they're accustomed to. Like, yes, we don't want children to be harmed and we don't want people to be sacrificed, but if you don't know any better, then are you actually doing something wrong? It's kind of like a moral thing. Like I get caught up on this a lot because it's like, yes, to me, this is horrific and should be stopped, but it's like, I also grew up in a much more privileged place than Liberia in the Civil War. Like, I admit, maybe this is just normal.
I totally get what you're saying.
For me personally, I don't want this to happen, but
no, there's got to be a better way. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that you need to. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna shut up now.
So part of the powers that he was granted from these sacrifices included immunity to bullets, super strength, super speed, and better vision. When Joshua Blahyi joined the Liberian Civil War, he became general butt naked because he believed that the human sacrifices he was doing was giving him immunity to bullets, so he didn't need to wear body armor or even clothes, only equipped with combat boots, amulets that he believed protected him, and an AK-47. I want to know where he's keeping his extra magazines. He's just shoving them up his ass. Yeah.
Prison wallet.
He's got a tail worth of AK-47 magazines coming out of him. But
well, maybe he has like the sash, the ammo
it just
sash.
Said boots, a gun, and an amulet. Okay. So he's running in there with one magazine.
The amulet holds a couple. Yeah. Amulet holds a couple bullets.
So all of his soldiers did the same thing because they were also included in the human sacrifices. So most of his soldiers being children, he also gave them a mixture of either cocaine, heroin, and gunpowder. He was giving them gunpowder. So just imagine,
to snort.
Yeah, just imagine a fucking naked guy.
Gunpowder.
I'm group
terrified.
Of naked dudes with AK-47s, high on coke and gunpowder, just sprinting at you, shooting fucking pop shots off. It's crazy.
That's horrific.
Yeah, so
that might be worse than the thought of the human sacrifices.
I don't know which is worse, but it's terrifying.
Yeah, it is. So
he created a coalition of child soldiers and Kron soldiers who followed him into battle, believing he was chosen for war. They participated in the sacrifices, so a whole group of naked cannibals loaded to the teeth with AK-47s were coming to pillage Liberia. 2 to 3 years after the war started, Liberia was in ruins. Some towns you couldn't even see the roads underneath all the shell casings.
Okay.
Yeah,
They had to have wagons or something. They didn't have pockets because they're naked. So they're like
That's why I'm
little
wondering where
red
the ammo came
wagons
from.
filled with ammo. It's got it. They've got to have it. Maybe there's a car
So,
or cart.
There-
Little
There's
golf
a
cart full of
Sean Ryan
ammo.
episode of one of the SEALs who they were doing clandestine operations in the Liberian War, and he was talking about
Mhm.
you couldn't see the ground underneath all the shell casings and dead bodies. It was
That's
really
crazy.
brutal war.
Yeah, that's more than a prison wallet can hold, I'm saying.
Definitely, it's a magazine can only hold 30 rounds, so they got to hide them somewhere.
Yep.
General Butt Naked aligned himself with the United Liberation Movement of Liberia for Democracy, or the ULIMO, who was formed by Doe's former army and people who wanted Charles Taylor dead. General Butt Naked named his squad names that seem unconventional now, but were designed to strike fear into his enemies. Are you ready for the names that he named his squad?
Okay, wait 1 second.
I don't think you can possibly guess what I'm about to say.
I can't. But what I'm going to say before you even start is the idea of General Butt Naked, I think, would make me laugh more than make me fear him.
That's why I said he's the most interesting human ever. He's scary, but he's also funny.
I don't think I would be particularly scared from, anyone coming at me carrying an AK-47, yes, I'm going to be scared. But the fact that he's naked and the fact that his name is General Butt Naked, it just takes some of his,
the scary part out of it.
it makes him seem less scary.
More goofy than scary. So
exactly.
Back to when I said Liberia was kind of formed by slaves that were sent from America. Part of the thing that dude on the Sean Ryan show talked about was their obsession. I don't know if obsession is the right word, but they love America because their ancestors came from there. So they're obsessed with American culture. So to strike fear into General Butt Naked's enemies, he named his squads things like Rambo, Chuck Norris, Terminator, and Satan.
Okay.
Rainbow squads coming at you hot, fully butt naked, high on gunpowder and crack.
No, I did not. I wasn't gonna. I would have gone more extreme. I mean, his name is General Butt Naked.
Never guess Rambo.
No, I wouldn't have. I thought he'd be more creative
insane.
than that.
Yeah. So these squads, however funny their names are, they committed atrocities in each town they attacked under General Butt Naked's command. Before each attack, he would perform a human sacrifice with his soldiers to protect them and provide them with the powers that they needed for war. He believed that eating human heart gave him the most power, so that's what they consumed a lot of.
Okay.
By 1996, the coup was almost over as rival groups clashed over the control. The town of Monrovia was impacted the most in the war, and ULIMO leader Roosevelt Johnson, which I find it very interesting with the impact of slaves being brought over, that they choose names of like Roosevelt Johnson. You wouldn't expect an African to be named Roosevelt Johnson. That's kind of what I find interesting. I don't know if that's racist to say or not, but it's interesting to me that they choose presidential high-ranking names almost.
Well, I'm wondering if there was a traditional name, and then because
kind of how Chinese immigrants, they have their Chinese name, and then they choose an American name when they get
an
over
Americanized.
there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's interesting.
Maybe. I mean, you do want, if you are a person who's going to be potentially seen in society for the things that you're doing, you want other cultures and other, people outside of your direct country to be able to pronounce your name.
True.
So people can pronounce General Butt Naked, but they might not be able to announce something in the
But his name
traditional-
was,
I don't know what
was it,
language
fucking
they
Joshua?
speak in.
Joshua Milton Blahyi. Like that.
I don't
Still
know.
Joshua being
It
a
is
name.
Very
That's
interesting. Very Anglo Anglo
yeah.
names. Yeah.
So anyways, leader Roosevelt Johnson was raided by Charles' men, but General Butt Naked had Roosevelt's side. Monrovia was ultimately destroyed due to the conflict. Half of the population was displaced and half was murdered.
Oh, not good.
General Butt Naked and his soldiers were able to defeat the attackers in Monrovia, and he was seen paraded around with a smoldering AK-47 in one hand and dismembered genitals of an enemy soldier in his other hand.
No.
General Butt Naked claimed that during a battle, he was visited by Jesus Christ. He claimed that Jesus told him to repent and live or refuse and die. This scared him so much that he decided to flee the war and flee Liberia. The Liberian Civil War lasted from 1989 to 1997 and killed about 200,000 people. General Butt Naked claimed he was personally responsible for 20,000 of those deaths. A few years after the war ended, General Butt Naked dropped his AK-47 and picked up a Bible. Joshua Blahyi became a pastor, claiming that his visit with Jesus converted him to Christianity. He had tried to convert his former child soldiers and apologized to those he had harmed due to war, based on his switch to Christianity. To most that knew him, he had completely transformed himself after finding Christianity. And that is the story of General Butt Naked, the most interesting man I've ever read anything about.
This was a wild one.
It's the most insane story I've ever read. Like,
yeah,
he went from being a child, like, not monarch, but like child god, basically. Like, the elder said he was a chosen son, and then he was eating hearts, and then running into battle butt naked with an AK-47 and child soldiers high on gunpowder and coke and
cocaine.
Like, then he randomly switched to Christianity after he saw Jesus. Like, that's so insane to me. It's such an interesting life story. And he's a pastor now, and he has a church down in Liberia. Like,
okay, I never would have picked any of the things that happened in your story.
I want to watch a movie about this, dude.
yeah, that's wild. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
The most insane story I've ever researched. That's for sure.
Yep. For sure.
Yikes. Let's hear your story, Mom.
Okay. My story also has some weird things happen, but a little bit more on the predictable side. Just really kind of odd and ends up being sad. Leonard Kille is who we're going to be talking about. He was born on June 7th, 1933 in Cambridge, Massachusetts. He had an older brother. He was from a working class family, but his father was often out of work, which caused a lot of tension between his parents. The tension wasn't so much from the lack of work, but was likely more to do with the fact that his dad liked to self-medicate with alcohol. So dad's not working, dad's
most
drinking,
dads do.
and dad likes to pick fights with his spouse, and as it does sometimes, turns into physical violence. When Leonard was about 7 years old, his father left the family. Although it's unclear what happened to his father because the mother first told her sons that their dad went into the military and then later told them that their dad was actually deceased. Who knows what happened to the dad, except he just pooped one day, is gone. Yep. It does seem suspicious. Yeah.
Was he a bank robber like Stephen Paddock's dad?
No. Well,
Okay.
no, he wasn't. He was a drunk mason worker who couldn't get a job.
Okay.
2 years later, both Leonard and his brother moved away from home and went to a church. It was a church-run boarding school. So they move away. They're going to live in this school, but it's only up until like junior high, essentially. When his brother graduated the school 4 years later, he left and moved home with their mother to start high school. Leonard wanted to leave the school too. He was like, I don't want to be here by myself. And their mom was like, nah, you can stay there. By this time, she had remarried and believed that there needed to be some separation in the family. She believed Leonard understood why she left him in boarding school. Whether he understood or not, he got to stay. Unfortunately, it may not have been the best place for him or anyone because the school had some allegations pop up later, as some would assume. Leonard was befriended by one of the school priests. They spent a lot of time together, and the entire school later had allegations surrounding abuse occurring at the hands of the priests.
Of course. Who else?
Of course. He spent another year at the boarding school before finishing and returning home to begin high school. However, his high school career was short-lived and he dropped out when he was 16 to join the military. Typically, 16-year-olds don't get to drop out of school and join the military. But, you know, it was 1940, so who knows what they were doing.
Oh, 1940s.
Well,
yeah,
maybe that was the case.
If you looked 18.
Well, he was 16 and World War II had just ended and the Korean War was getting ready to start up. So
you had pimples,
they probably were like, right. They're like, hey, you can hold a firearm. Cool. You can come in.
Yeah.
Leonard stayed in the military for a couple of years, but when he was 18, he had a medical emergency that led to his release from the service and he returned home. He resumed his high school studies and reunited with his previous high school girlfriend, Janice. Later that year, he and Janice got married. The couple would eventually have 6 children. In the mid-1950s, Leonard's mother and stepfather moved to California, and he and his family soon followed them. Leonard began working as an engineer for an aircraft manufacturer. But Leonard's time in California was short-lived. He and Janice and their children moved back to the East Coast after about 3 years and relocated back in Massachusetts. He started working for Polaroid, and within a year, he was promoted and became an engineer working on camera development. A year later, he was named a co-creator in several patented camera parts, and he moved on in his career from cameras to work as an engineer for a national defense contractor. So he's a smart guy, is the point here. He was an engineer. He was smart enough to help create things that could get a patent by the government to say, that's a cool thing that we've never seen before. And yes, it's so cool. We're going to tell you how cool it is. So I say all that because he's not just some average guy, essentially. He actually, he's
a genius.
He had some smarts to him. Yeah. Throughout the family moves and his job changes, it appeared that Leonard and his wife seemed to have a good marriage. However, that soon changed, and in 1961, Janice requested a restraining order against him. Even though she obtained a restraining order, she didn't leave him, and the couple stayed married. I don't know what that was all about, but
How do you stay married after a restraining order? That's
my guess is like she got a restraining order against him, and then they reconciled, and then got back together, and
okay.
Yeah. They stayed married because they ended up having a few more kids and different things.
A few more
Things
after
weren't-
getting a restraining order? What?
Well-
how does that work?
Yes.
You're not allowed
They
to
reconciled.
touch me, but you can come in me.
Well, yes. Do it from
What the
afar.
fuck?
Just
You have to.
so I
you
don't
have to
know.
He can
Yes,
only.
you got to
he
shoot
can
it
only
across the room.
From the
You got to catch it. I don't know. I don't know. She must have dropped the restraining order for some reason.
Oh, you gotta throw it from the other side of the
3 years.
room, buddy.
Yeah. With a oh my God. I just thought of the worst joke ever. And I will say it just
Okay,
for the
say it.
laugh. Similar to a snot rocket.
Oh God! Wow.
Texture
That
is the
was-
same,
that
right?
was bad.
Okay.
No, you can't.
It was bad. I know. Okay, we're moving on back to the
Texture.
story. Because I'm
Okay.
dying. Oh my God. Things weren't necessarily improving, though, even though they were reconciled. 3 years later, Leonard started seeing a psychiatrist. This is the same psychiatrist that his wife had been seeing for a few years. The doctor believed that Leonard had an anger problem, and that was causing the couple's marriage troubles. Even though there were apparent issues, I mean, they're seeing a psychiatrist separate and together, and there's restraining orders, and they've been dropped. They went on to continue having children, and in 1965, they had their 6th child. This was the 6th kid. With such a
6?
large family, they needed, 6.
Fucking stop. Stop at 3 if you have a restraining order. You shouldn't be allowed to have 6.
Yeah, you shouldn't have. If you get a restraining order, you shouldn't have more after that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
What the fuck?
Yes.
Is he breaking and entering? Is it sexual assault?
I don't-
What is this?
No, I don't think so. Maybe.
Oh, this is
With such a
awful.
large family, they needed a bigger house, so they moved. The new house had an upstairs apartment that their priest suggested they rent out to another church member who had recently been divorced. The extra income could definitely help them with the cost of a larger home and the expense of so many mouths to feed. So Robert Dirkman moved into the home. Right away, he wasn't just any average tenant. He was helping Leonard with chores around the house and spending long evenings talking with Janice. Not long after their tenant moved into the house, Leonard spent some time in and out of hospitals for various conditions, from pneumonia to a head trauma that he got after a car accident, and for problems that seemed to be centered around the marital problems.
Is
you
he
know,
getting poisoned like that one
when-
episode? Graham, whatever?
No,
okay.
no poison involved, but I mean, the tenant's staying up late in the night talking to his wife. I'm sure it gave him some anxiety. Yeah. Spoiler alert.
But he's got a restraining order on him. He can't
He's got
talk
a
to his
restraining
wife.
order. She's got to talk to somebody.
Oh my God. It fucking. This story makes
I
me
know.
mad at this point.
Just wait. Just wait.
Okay.
The psychiatrist that he had been seeing believed that Leonard had a brain disorder, and that was causing the marriage to suffer. So he referred Leonard to a different doctor who was working with a neurosurgeon. These two doctors were studying the brain and behaviors. It was their belief that violence and aggression were caused by a problem with the limbic system. So a little bit of science time. The limbic system is part of the brain that regulates emotion, behavior, memory, and motivation. These doctors believed that they could alter someone's behaviors by altering the limbic system, but not just altering it.
Oh no!
By actually destroying part of the limbic system. Yeah. This is, yeah.
Are they gonna
For time
lobotomize them?
reference, this is, well, funny you should say that, because that's what I'm about to say.
No.
Scientists were studying, they did not lobotomize him. They did not. But at the time, scientists were studying parts of the brain and how they worked, and they were looking at how specific parts of the brain could affect behaviors. Scientists were also trying interesting and novel techniques to try and control behaviors as well as treatment for mental health conditions. So throwback to episode 97, when we talked about Walter Freeman, who was the American doctor who popularized lobotomies in America.
The lobotomobile.
Which, yes. During the time of Leonard's hospitalization and marital issues, doctors were still using lobotomies to, quote unquote, help mental health disorders. But Leonard's doctors were not suggesting a lobotomy. So they didn't perform a lobotomy. No ice picks to the brain were involved. Well, we're going to find out. They did want to perform brain surgery on him and do a lot of heavy digging around in that brain. Their treatment plan was to surgically implant electrodes in his brain and then use those electrodes to pass microwaves into specific areas of the brain. What do you think happens when you have microwaves?
You die.
Put in your
You die.
brain?
You can't have microwaves in your brain.
He did not die because they were very specific on where they were targeting. Their goal was to destroy parts of the brain.
What are you talking about?
I know.
This is making me really uncomfortable.
Brain stuff. Okay.
Are you punishing me or something? What? The past?
No.
Two times we recorded, you talk about brains. The brain is so scary.
I'm sorry.
I don't like it.
It is. When I found this story, I didn't know that it was going to be this. Yeah, I thought it was just going to be something that they were like, he said this happened. And then they were like, oh, that didn't happen. And then they went, oh, shit, it did. The goal was to destroy parts of the brain that they believed were causing the reported aggressive behaviors. So like in a lobotomy, when they thought that they could destroy the frontal lobe, these doctors, Leonard's doctors, thought that the limbic system was causing him to be aggressive and violent. So they were going to go treat that spot in his brain and just make it not exist anymore.
So doing the same thing, but just scrambling a different part? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes. They didn't scramble. There was no scrambling. No.
They used the microwaves?
No, they just... They put electrodes in his brain. So it was more specific
but the electrodes use a
than
microwave,
the
right?
lobotomy. Well, they put microwaves through the electrodes to kill the limbic system. Yes.
What the fuck
the
that means, and I don't want to know what that means.
No, you don't need to know. The treatment took place over a period of several months, all while Leonard was he was an inpatient at the hospital. More than once, Leonard objected to the treatments and requested the doctors to stop. He basically was like, I'm checking out of this hospital and I'm not doing it anymore. And they were like, you shouldn't do that. And he's like, I don't care. And then he would come back and go, okay, keep treating me. So they did. They completed the treatments, but before they could complete it, his wife Janice filed for divorce and she left Leonard. It would later turn out that she would marry the tenant, Robert Dirkman, the guy who would stay up late talking to her. she left Leonard for
This is the worst
this
story.
guy.
This is worse than the General Butt Naked story. What the fuck? He's getting his brain experimented on? Like,
I
they're shooting
know.
microwaves in his brain?
I know.
Poor
I
fucking
know. It's
fella.
terrible. Once the treatments were complete and his marriage was officially over, he decided to move back to California. He might as well go live by his mom and his stepfather, so he left. Leonard's mental status really took a turn once he was in California. Not because he was in California, but because they had done all this stuff to him, and it took a little bit of time for it to develop. He started having social problems. I can't imagine why, when part of your brain gets microwaved. He was found wandering a parking lot in the middle of the night. Police picked him up and took him to the hospital. He was forcibly admitted to the hospital, where he began to tell his story. He spoke about being hospitalized in Massachusetts, about having electrodes implanted in his brain, being a test subject that sustained repeated electrical stimulations and radio waves into his brain, all in an effort to damage his limbic system. His story was wild and fantastic. I mean, you would never expect that. And it was a treatment that no one had ever heard of before, because these, this is the 60s and people are still learning about the brain. And for crying out loud, they were still doing lobotomies on people. So they were like, no, that's not possible. You can't do that. The California doctors didn't know that it was all true. So they diagnosed him with paranoid schizophrenia, because they were like, that's a make-believe. No, that could have never happened and didn't happen. So they were like, you have schizophrenia. Over the next several years, his disruptive behavior continued, and he was regularly placed in different hospitals, with everyone assuming the stories he told were from his imagination. His symptoms were worsening. He was severely disturbed, socially incompetent, and brain damaged. Years after Leonard's procedure, the operating doctors published a book citing the case study of Leonard and his treatment, but they didn't give his true name, so they gave him a fake name. The doctors actually claimed that they had cured Leonard of his aggressive behavior, and he was no longer a violent person.
Bullshit.
When on all actuality, Leonard was now more violent than ever because he was brain damaged. Another doctor who read the surgeon's account of them, quote unquote, curing their patient, thought it was bullshit. And so he started digging into it. He was able to locate Leonard, and he got the true story of what actually happened, the supposed cure or lack thereof. The truth finally came out that the experiments Leonard had been telling people about were all true. This whole time, for years, everybody said he was paranoid schizophrenic. It was make-believe. It was bullshit. And this doctor comes forward and says, nope, it really happened. Leonard's mother filed a malpractice lawsuit many years later against the doctors who performed the surgery. However, the lawsuit was unsuccessful at proving any wrongdoing. For the remainder of his life, Leonard suffered from the brain damage inflicted in that surgery, and he was frequently hospitalized for his behaviors. He passed away at 60 years old, 26 years after the brain surgery.
God damn. That is such a weird story. Like,
I know.
I don't.
Wild.
Don't like the brain surgery.
Wild.
Part. It scares
I know.
me more than General Butt Naked.
Same.
I don't like the brain. The brain is so sensitive.
I know you don't like brain stuff.
It scares the fuck out of me.
You don't like brain stuff like I don't like eye stuff. Don't.
Or bugs.
Or swarming bugs of any kind. Nope. Don't need to see it, hear about it. No.
I can't do brain stuff. If the brain stuff like really gets to me. I wonder if it's because like Papa died of brain stuff, and
brain stuff, maybe.
I don't know.
Oh,
It
no.
scares the fuck out of me. Anyways,
I heard about this story on a podcast I was listening to where they were not talking about this story. They just were talking about something else and talking about like mental health issues. And they mentioned the name and said, oh, yeah, like Leonard Kille and how he was diagnosed. He told people about the experiments on his brain and everybody thought he was lying. And then years later it came out. And I was like, I have to find this story. I did not know the experiments on his brain were going to be the experiments that happened. So I apologize for traumatizing you with another brain story.
So as a chaser, I have a brain story TV show.
Okay.
Unless we've
Okay.
already done this, based on our research, we haven't done this before, but the Terminal List. That
Oh,
is
yes.
a TV show about a Navy SEAL who has a brain experiment done on him. And it's such a good fucking show. I mean,
It is a good show.
I think it was episode 6. Episode 6 you could skip because they show the most disgusting fucking thing of all time on there. It's either 6 or 8. I can't remember which one it is, but one of the fucking episodes there's so my mom watched this.
It is pretty gory.
She told me about it. She recommended it to me, and then I watch it
It's
and
a
I'm like,
great show.
it is, but what the fuck was that? The thing
I know.
when you watch it, you know, but like I almost threw up in my
There's a
mouth when I
torture-
watched that shit.
There's a torture procedure
It was
that happens involving
awful.
someone and their stomach, or
But
not stomach, their abdomen. But
Their intestines. Just giving you a
Yep.
heads up, but other than that, it's a really good show. I think
It is a good
lot
show.
of our listeners would like it because it's like brutal and conspiracy and bizarre. and-
Yes.
yeah.
Very conspiracy adjacent. Yes. And
But what
season
is
2 is
your
coming
chaser?
out soon, which I'm very
Yes.
excited about.
I didn't even know. I just started
My-
watching it. But what's your chaser, Mom?
I know. I'm glad you did. My chaser is a show on Netflix called Final Draft, and it is a sports contest in Japan. So they took, I can't remember how many, is like 20 something former professional athletes from different. There were baseball players, rugby players. There was a sport I had never even heard of before. Kadabi, I think was the name. I can't remember, but they take these former professional athletes who have retired and have them compete against each other in these different contests. And the goal is to the ultimate winner is going to win 30 million yen, and then they can use that to start a new career because they're former athletes who now don't have a career. And it's
Start a
some of the-
company off of the money they make and shit.
yeah,
like that.
start a company
Okay.
or do, like help support your family kind of thing.
It's pretty cool.
It was really interesting. And some of the tasks that they had them do were like, the final task was they had to perform a tug of war on each other, but in the it was 3 people doing tug of war attached to each other to get to a button and press the button to win. And it was a pretty good show, and it was a quick watch. I think we started watching it like 2 days ago and cruised through it. So I recommend it.
Sounds like a
Final
fun
Draft.
watch.
It was good. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for joining us once again.
Thanks.
Always good to hear your stories, Mom.
Except for the brain ones. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't like the brain ones, but
You still love me, even though I subjected you to trauma.
I subjected you to a pretty bad story this week too. So
That's true. I had to think about a butt naked general coming at me with an AK-47 and combat boots and nothing
and child
else.
soldiers and
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks for
Yeah,
listening,
I don't like that.
everybody. Love you, Mom.
Love you, bud.
Bye.
Hey, friends. Thank you for supporting our podcast. Please share our show with your brutal and bizarre friends. Give us a boozy follow on your favorite podcast platform. If you're feeling extra generous, we'd appreciate a 5-star rating or review as well. But maybe do that sober so all the letters are in the right place.
You can find all our contact information in the show notes. We love hearing from you, and if you're interested in helping us stock the bar for our future boozy episodes, you can find our Patreon link in the show notes as well.